Hi, I'm Manjit Kang and I'm a shining silhouette. I grew up in an extended Punjabi Sikh family in Handsworth. There were probably about 15, 20 members that we all lived together with granddad, dad, uh, aunts, uncles, lots and lots of cousins and siblings who all lived under one roof. My family were actually in business at the time. They ran a flour mill in Birmingham, and I always remember the respect that my family felt towards their bank manager, which gave me the aspiration to one day be a bank manager and be a bank manager for NatWest. So not many people can say that they're actually living their childhood dream, and I am actually living that dream. That's something that I don't really talk about very often. It's a chapter of my life that is still very painful when I do reflect and go back to that time in my life. It's when you're actually told by someone that you're useless, you're worthless, you're beneath them for being a woman because you've just like gone into a family, and where I was in that time in my life, I was a very obedient young lady. I did as I was told. I had an arranged marriage. I went into this family, and they just didn't appreciate anything that I brought with me. They were more interested in the material things in life, which I'm not that sort of person. Material things do not interest me. So that was one of the difficulties. So at 6 weeks pregnancy, I walked out on my ex-husband. After a year and a half of mental abuse. And I think what's quite important in life, if either your husband's supportive or your in-laws are supportive, you can get through marriage, you can get through the life. But when they're both not supportive, it's extremely difficult. So I still had my self-respect, and I think a lot of your viewers will probably think, we have to remain in a marriage because it's about our family isn't. It's about our family respect. What about your own respect? Never ever lose your own respect. That's a message that I'd like to share with your viewers, and that's most important. I'll be honest, it was a lot of mental abuse. I didn't suffer, I don't think I would have allowed physical abuse, and I wouldn't have put up with that in any case. Some of the situations were around dowry. My parents hadn't given his parents gold and jewellery and the usual sort of stuff. So there was always this sort of tane, you know what I mean by tane? Like this sort of like sort of cutting comments each and every day. I wasn't allowed to. I had to hand all my wages over. I was given £10 a week to survive on. But what I had throughout that, I had NatWest. I was working for NatWest, and I never gave that up. So I had my area to sort of breathe. But it was a very difficult time. That year and a half, I wasn't allowed to see my family. There came a time because I wanted that marriage to work, and I thought, well, if it makes him happy and his family happy by leaving my family, who they thought were illiterate, who they thought were dissy, who they thought were backward even, but what they confuse that with is that they're traditional people, they're respectable people, they're people who have brought their daughter up well. that moment. When I was 6 weeks pregnant, and I thought, I do not want this life for my child. My child deserves better than this. At that stage, I didn't even know what I was going to do with my life. I knew I was going to keep this child, and I knew that I was going to give that child the best I can. First step that I took, I grieved. I had a complete meltdown, but then I had to pick myself up very quickly because I had another life growing inside me. So I actually travelled for 6 months while being pregnant. An hour and a half journey I used to do on a Monday and a Friday while during my pregnancy, because I knew I wanted to make, I think. So what happens is when you're being, especially at the time when I grew up, back in the 70s, 80s, we were always given this. This was sort of put into our heads that you learn to cook and clean, you learn to sew, you learn to knit. Your husband will look after you. He will provide for you. At that stage, I realised no one was going to provide for me and my child. I needed to push my own boundaries and my own aspirations. Even I had to then start thinking, gosh, I can't buy a house. I can't send my child. So I started to really push my career aspirations at that time while during my pregnancy. And at 6 months pregnant, in Birmingham, I got my promotion. And at NatWest, that is where my loyalty to NatWest comes from. Who gives a promotion to a 6-month pregnant woman? But NatWest did. I think, like I said, my being pregnant, knowing there was another life inside me, I was going to become a responsible, and that brings responsibility. So I knew that was my motivation, and I just had to find ways to push boundaries and work hard so that I can actually climb that career ladder within the bank, so I can earn more money and provide more for my child who was going to come into this world. So that was my motivation, and it still is. My children, I have a son now as well. I've got remarried. My son is 10 and my daughter is 14 now, so they are my motivation. Even all this stepping outside my comfort zone, coming here today, lights, cameras, action, because I'm doing this at 41. I want them to be doing this at 21. My family was very supportive. My mum and dad were gold. They were. I could not fault them. As you can imagine, at 6 weeks pregnant, there was extended family pressure. The people were actually telling me to abort this child. My parents, not once did they say to me, they said, it's your decision. They have been there with me every step of the way. Hence, I took my mum along to the award ceremony because I wanted her to see what her daughter has become. Life's it's had its ups and downs since, not to that extent, but I think life's been good. Life's been good. I think I've gained everything that I have today after walking out of that particular relationship. I got my daughter, got my son, I got married again, got a great husband. He's so supportive in everything I do. Got my work, I got this award, got friends like yourselves at Asian Today. So life couldn't be any better. I couldn't wish for more. And God, I always try and remain thankful to God for all He's given me, because I'm just an ordinary woman. At 17 I left school with very minimal GCSEs, and life, today I am Outstanding Businesswoman of the Year. That only happens with His blessings. I would say find your own self-respect. Don't ever lose your self-respect. By respecting, when we talk about izzat and we talk about family, communities, etc. Badnami and all of that. No, your own self-pride and your own self-respect is so important. That has to always come first. This is actually a motto that I've taken from my role model, someone who I look up to and I inspire from, and she always says that to succeed and to aspire in life against all odds, but with integrity.